The two leaders had much to talk about. In addition to Iraq and Afghanistan, there were the political situations in Burma, Zimbabwe and Darfur.
All the time.
There were also the global fuel and food problems, climate change and environment issues. But first, that special relationship. A relationship, said Mr. Brown, of shared values.
The special partnership that President Bush and I both agree today is a partnership not just of governments but of peoples, is driven forward not simply by mutual interests but by our shared values. Both countries founded upon liberty, our histories forged through democracy, our shared values expressed by a commitment to opportunity for all, putting into practice what Churchill called the joint inheritance of the English-speaking world. So let me thank President Bush for being a true friend of Britain and for the importance he attaches to enhancing our transatlantic partnership from the work we do in Afghanistan and Iraq to every part of the world. And let me thank him for the steadfastness and the resolution that he has shown in rooting out terrorism in all parts of the world, in working for a Middle East peace settlement, in bringing hope to Africa, in working for a free trade world where, in spite of today's current difficulties with oil and food prices, there is and should be a wider and deeper prosperity in future for all.
He then went to the specific subjects discussed yesterday and today.
As we have discussed Iran's nuclear ambitions, we have discussed Iraq and Afghanistan, where our forces are working side by side. We have discussed the criminal cabal that now threatens to make a mockery of free and fair elections in Zimbabwe. We have discussed what we can do about democracy in Burma. We have resolved, first of all, as we did some years ago, that it is in the British national interest to confront the Taliban in Afghanistan, or Afghanistan would come to us. And so today Britain will announce additional troops for Afghanistan, bringing our numbers in Afghanistan to the highest level. And let me thank our troops and the troops of America and 42 other countries who are in Afghanistan, as I thank our forces in Iraq, for their courage and for their professionalism. And let me acknowledge the bravery of the 5 members of the 2nd Paratroop Regiment, British men who have in the last few days sacrificed their lives for freedom. 18 months ago, the Taliban boasted that they and their paid foreign fighters would drive our forces out of southern Helmand. Now most agree that security is on the way to being transformed. Last week in Paris, a total of 80 countries pledged 20 billion, with nearly $1 billion from the United Kingdom, to support the Afghan National Development Strategy. Our aim is to generate progress where the 4th poorest country in the world, laid low by decades of conflict, can as a democracy enjoy peaceful social and economic development, with our forces over time moving from a direct combat role to train and support Afghanistan's own army and police. In Iraq, there is still work to be done, and Britain is playing and will continue to play its part. Where we have over 4,000 troops in Basra, we will continue the shared policy of Iraqis taking more control over their own affairs, moving from combat to overwatch in Basra. A policy is showing success as we continue the task we have set ourselves. Strong and well-trained Iraqi forces, capable of securing the peace, firm commitments to new local government elections soon, and speeding up the social and economic development of Iraq so that people have a stake in the future. Our message today to the Iranian people is that you do not have to choose the path of confrontation. The latest rounds of talks with the Iranians took place over the weekend. Once again, we put our enhanced offer on the table, including political and economic partnership and help with nuclear technology for civilian use. We await the Iranian response and will do everything possible to maintain the dialogue.
First thing about Gordon Brown, he's tough on terror, and I appreciate it. And so should the people of Great Britain and the world. He fully understands that while some want to say this terrorist threat is gone or there's nothing to worry about, it is something to worry about. And you were tested early in your prime ministership. You dealt with the challenge. And I appreciate your continued focus and your understanding that we've got to work together to protect our people, and your understanding that freedom is transformative and the ultimate way to succeed against these extremists who use murder as a way to achieve their political objectives is to marginalize them through the advance of liberty. Thank you very
This
much.
trip is part of Mr. Bush's final European tour before he leaves office. Later today, he travels to Northern Ireland.